Hey, lovely people, welcome to the channel. My name is Junko as usual, and I welcome you to Jenny Box. Yeah, in today's episode, I want us to focus on Africa, right? Like we always do. But this time around, I want us to assess the independence of Africa. Yeah, so in order not to waste your time, let's just go straight into it. As we all know, Ghana is the first country in the sub-Saharan Africa to gain their independence from the British, right? So I could only talk much about Ghana because I'm from Ghana. Yeah, so ever since independence, there hasn't been no change in governance, no change in nothing ever since the colonial masters left Ghana or, Africa as a whole, So basically, the structures that the colonial masters had in play is still in play today. There's been no changes to the constitution of Ghana, not mainly the laws or whatever, but important aspect of the constitution. For example, the way the ministries work and everything. Our whole system of governance is the colonial setup. You get my point. So there's no way anything positive can come from something that the colonial masters left for us. You understand? And I don't understand whether if our leaders um, are not knowledgeable about this or they are just pretending as if this is not uh, this is not necessary or what. You understand? So with the colonial system of governance still in play, it's basically more like you're just working in favor of the colonial master still. You understand my point? Because there's no way Africa has to be the way it is now after, in the case of Ghana, almost 70 years of independence. That's a long time to see huge progress. Even though, yeah, our leaders are trying their best to, you know, to govern the country properly and also, create a lot of better livelihoods for, the citizens of Ghana and the rest of Africa. But some of the structures that are really affecting Ghana is the fact that, our ministries do one thing alone, and that is to just export, our natural resources and stuff like that. You understand? I used to have a friend that I have a friend that used to work at a cocoa board in Ghana, and all they had to do was just, um, get the cocoa ready to get shipped to Switzerland and other parts of the world. You understand? This is something that, you know, is structured in a way to just keep pushing our natural resources outside of the country, or outside of the continent, because I'm very sure that's how it is in other aspects of Africa as well. You understand? So another aspect that keeps worrying us is also the formal educational system. You understand? The educational system in Africa or Ghana as a whole is very terrible, like so terrible. It doesn't give you the opportunity to explore your mind and explore your brain to create something. Like you just have to depend on what school has to offer you. That's why we have a lot of jobless people in Ghana and some parts of Africa with good degrees and all that. The kind of environment we find ourselves in Ghana, for instance, right? You don't expect somebody to just graduate from school and just get a job somewhere instantly, right? The person has to hustle hard before the person finds a job, or maybe has an uncle somewhere who can actually push him into like a government space or something like that. And then if you go to the private institutions, the pay over there it's crazy. It won't even motivate you to even work. You understand? So this structures is just to keep us, cubed. You understand, or boxed in a way. You understand, which is not good. And also with the school, the school is just structured to just indoctrinate us to not use our minds. Like I said earlier, it's school is one of the downfall of Africa, if you ask me, because all of the indoctrinations that Africans grow up with and have less commitment to the country or their continent as a whole has been from what they were taught from infancy. And we all know that the kids spend much of their growing times with the teachers, and then of course what do the teachers teach them is what they learn in school. You understand? All this is to just create some kind of indoctrination to keep the African child on African. You understand? I don't feel like school is really something that Africa has to really follow. You get me? In the sense that the formal education that are taught in the African schools have to be restructured, because these are all colonial teachings. You get my point? For example, how can a person grow up in Ghana, never been abroad before, never met any Brony before or anything, but he or she has the mindset that Brony is capable of doing something better than him, or the Brony is better than him. Where did he get the mindset from? You understand? The school has never done anything good for Africa ever since the school was introduced. You understand? Nothing that was brought into Africa by the colonial masters has ever benefited Africa. So I don't understand why Africans are still reliable on this formal education this colonial masters brought to us. You understand? I know people are kind of sensitive when it comes to religious topics, so I don't want to go to that aspect. But of course, that is also what is it called? A problem. You understand? I mean, make it make sense to me that um, well, I know some of you would disagree with me talking about the educational system the way I am talking about it right now, but the truth is clear. You understand? The truth is clear. When truth comes, the falsehood vanishes. You understand? The truth is clear, and there is so much evidence in what we learn in our schools that are not beneficial to the African society. You understand? All this way of lives are not an African thing. We have to really go back to our history, learn about our history, learn about how great Africa was before the coming of the Europeans, and then everything. These are very important topics that we need to focus on, and change our mindsets. You get me? Because there's no way that a person that came into your space for the past 500 years and hasn't treated you nicely or done anything significant to improve your livelihood until or unless he or she is benefiting like 99% of from you before they do it. You understand? This, I'm referring to the railroads that were built in Ghana during the colonial era and stuff. These railroads were built purposely to just transport goods, the natural resources straight to the harbor. You understand? So these structures were built to benefit them, not the African actually. So a person like this or a people like this would introduce you something called formal education, and then you take it serious, bro. You must be a joke, man. You must be a joke. The truth is clear, and I don't care what anybody's gonna say, but the truth is clear. You understand? hmm it's quite sad. It's really sad that the African mind is so colonized that they kind of alienate even their own way of life and thinking that you know capturing or mimicking the Western way of life is the standard of civilization, when actually civilization started from Africa itself. You understand? I don't know how we got to this point. I don't know who did this to us, but I believe that in time everything is going to change. All depends on ourselves and our mindset. Yeah. So stretching on the school aspect, I feel like um yeah. Well, there's been this initiative that I saw by the Ministry of Education in Ghana about introducing the local dialects into the what is it called, into the school or into the educational system in Ghana, right? And I feel like that's a good move, but why not just get the so-called professors in Ghana, not to disrespect them in any way or form, but those professors with degrees, bunch of degrees, to sit down and then convert whatever that is being learned in school from English to the local dialect. I think that would be much better. You understand? You can attempt to kill a lion by cutting the lion's nails. You just have to cut off the lion's head, and then the lion will be dead straight up. You get me? You can't be, caressing the lion. It makes no sense. If you want to kill it, just kill it at once. You get me? That's one thing about Africans. We just don't do this straightforward. We just want to, take it slow. I know sometimes things are supposed to be taken slow, but not in this regard. We've been worked upon for several centuries, and in this way, in this modern day and era of neo-colonialism, it's been more than 6, 7 decades since we've been worked upon by the Western powers. You get me? So I feel like this is the time that, or this is the moment, or this is the period that Africans need to wake up and then change their mindsets and everything. I'm stretching much about the school because school is so important. I've been to school before. I've been to one of the best schools in Ghana. Yeah, and I know how it is like because we spend so much of our lives in school. We spend like 23, 24 years in school, all learning the colonial stuff. You get me? So this is gonna have a great toll on our life. You understand? It will definitely shape us to, I mean, to act contrary to what is expected of a true African to do. You get me? So all these things are stuff that I feel like needs to be tackled and then taken care of. Yeah, and also to preserve our dignity and our Africanness. I think that the ladies, I mean the girls or the girl children that are in Ghana in school, whose hairs are being forced to cut before they get to school and all that, it's supposed to be stopped because these things. Come on, like come on, what's going on? And I saw one video of a lady or a girl being, taken to the salon, and then she has this beautiful hair, and then they cut the hair off. You understand? And they made it really short due to the fact that it's against the principles of the school. Like, who brought this kind of principle? Like, who brought this? You understand? Because I haven't seen anywhere in this world that uh, a girl having long hair or plenty hair is a problem. You know, it's a problem because the school is definitely to learn, and be educated and be educated. You understand? So, what does that got to do with your looks or how your hair is supposed to be kept? I don't get it. This is a way of uh, I believe this is also an aspect of colonizing the mindset. You understand? Because this girl children will complete school one day at the age of 23, 21, 22, and then they would wish that they had long hairs and all that, but they wouldn't have. You get me? And their prime times will be like from 21, 20 to 30 years at least, and then you can't change your hair into different styles with a short hair. That how long you want your hair to be. I mean, you can have 5 years to allow your hair to grow and then shape it into how you want it. So this makes the girls resort into getting wigs and all that. This is also like throwing away our identity and all that. So I feel like that also is some kind of um, colonial tool. You get me? Yes. I know it's gonna be difficult because we have basically been colonized in all aspects of life. Our God consciousness, our 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 science, our our way of life, our healing. Our like all aspect of our lives has been colonized. Even our food has been colonized. You understand? And I understand that, and it's gonna be difficult to get ourselves out of this. But if we don't start from the bottom, like if we don't start building foundations, we wouldn't see the end of this. You get me? So foundations are really important. That is the reason why I'm seated here doing this video to bring awareness to our people that we need to wake up and make Africa great like it was before. You understand? The first step you can do is to have a step back and think for yourself. Before the coming of the Europeans, how was Africa like? What kind of life were we living before the Europeans came? Well, in so many sources, you would see Africans being primitive people, like they didn't know what they were about. And I've heard like crazy stories that talks about, Africans didn't know the value of gold, and then when the Europeans came, they brought mirrors, and then when our ancestors saw the mirrors, they saw themselves in the mirrors, they were like, yo, I mean, they were happy and acting foolish and all that. So they used the mirror to exchange for our golds, and these stories are not verifiable in any way or form. These are just fairy tales. These stories are not true. You understand? But it's quite unfortunate that a lot of Africans really believe these stories to be true. But I've read a couple of books on Africa, and I've not seen anything like this. You understand me? I mean, to even debunk this simply, look at the time of Mansa Musa. Mansa Musa existed like 300 years 300, 200 years before the coming of the Europeans into Africa, like they did. You understand? So that should tell you that this is actually a hoax. You understand? This is actually a hoax because Mansa Musa was the richest man in the world. Rich in what? In gold. The Mali Empire had gold. If he didn't know the value of gold, would he have kept? would they have kept the gold? Like, it makes no sense. So this debunked that kind of mentality, And then we had, great kingdoms in Africa, like the kingdom of Benin that had like a war from, let's say on the Ghana. Let me use the Ghana map for example, like a war as long as from Accra to Wa and back. You understand? That's how long the wall was. It was crazy. You understand? Where's this wall? Where's this wall now? All has been put to the ground by the colonials that came into Africa. Because they tried to wipe out the African history so that they could push this ideology that they are selling it to us in our schools. You understand? So these topics or these informations are supposed to be brought back to life. You get me? Yeah. So the likes of the Benin Kingdom, the Kingdom of Dahomey, the Kingdom of the Songhai Empire, the Mosi Empire, you know, and our own current Asante Empire. Asante Empire, even though it's one of the baby empires that we have in Africa, but it's still relevant and it's still important to us because it's mostly like uh if not the only one of the surviving empires that exist in Africa still. You know, yeah. So these histories are supposed to be taught to our kids. To ourselves and our kids and everything else. This will bring some sense of um pride, into ourselves and some sense of priority. Patriotism. Sorry, some sense of patriotism into us, and looking at what our ancestors have achieved, we could actually, achieve better than that. I don't even want to talk about the ancient Egyptians because they can take it, even though they aren't. Our ancestors are still the builders of the pyramids, but that's even like way, 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 way long ago. You understand? Even the closest civilization that we've had, when we had issues with invasions in the in the northern part of Africa that drive us to the southern part, we were still able to create a civilization like the Ghana Empire. The Ghana Empire had beautiful civilizations, like beautiful way of life, beautiful way of interacting with traders, like with what is it called, with external countries and all that. It was great. These empires are supposed to be read upon. You know, the Ghana Empire, the Mali Empire to the Songhai Empire. These are empires that have immensely, created a great civilization as good as the ancient Egyptian civilization. But it's quite unfortunate that the so-called historians of the world are not focusing on that aspect of history because they rather keep it, closed. You understand? Because if this is out, it's definitely gonna give the Africans some kind of pride and who they actually are. So it's really good news to see our own President John Mahama trying to connect to our brothers and sisters in the Caribbeans. Trying to create you know some structures in place so that we can trade among them ourselves or deal with ourselves in a very prominent and valuable way. You get me? In a more fruitful way as well. You get my point? And also the way Jamama treats our neighboring countries is kind of, perfect. The likes of Burkina Faso trying to, who took their destiny into their hands to change whatever that's happening to the world. Into their country and take it to the level that they want. That's also beautiful. And our brothers in the Sahel region and everything. You understand me? Yeah. I feel like this generation of Africans are really waking up to the reality of things, and sooner or later, everything is gonna be better, I suppose, or I hope. Yeah, that's all we all want. What is preventing Africa from really progressing isn't the money squandering by the African leaders or whatever. The kind of colonial deals that were signed during the time of colonization or during the time where the what is it called, during the time independence was about to be handed over to these respective countries, there have been colonial pacts that were signed among um the colonial leaders and the leaders of Africa, which is still affecting the African economy up to date. You understand? For example, the monies that the francophone countries in Africa send to France almost like every year. It's absurd. You get me? And I'm not really sure about the amount, but I've heard something about $500 billion or something like that. You understand? Every year. That's crazy amount of money. And then if they want to go get their money back, they give it to them on loans with high rate interest. This is crazy. And we can't say that this is the only thing that or it's the only they are the only colonial masters that have done that to that certain part of Africa and not focus on the Anglophone part of Africa and then the Dutch part of Africa as well. I'm very sure that they have also signed similar pacts. As we all know, this the Europeans came together and then executed majority of their things against the Africans. You get me? So there's nothing that France will do without UK. The British knowing about. You get me? Same way, there's nothing the UK is gonna do without the France. Without France knowing about. You get me? So all in all, these pacts that were signed among the country, the African leaders, and then the colonial masters is still in play. Independence we celebrate every year by African countries is just a hoax, bro. Let's just face the truth and tell it to ourselves. So far as we still practice the colonial way of governing, the colonial way of education, the colonial way of running our country, there's no way it will mean that we are independent of them because the structures has been created to keep you where you are. You understand? We can go ahead and start blaming any leader from head to toe. Like ever since the independence of Ghana, for example, we've been complaining ever since. Like any leader that comes, we still complain that people are suffering, the country is not moving okay, this and that. But little have we realized that, or little have we relaxed our mind to just look at what could be the fault of it. All we got to do is take our time, flashback, and ask few questions like I'm asking right now. Because how can a president use 4 years or 8 years to build up a country? When our parents or grandparents used 10 years, 5 years, 6, 7 years, depending on their pocket, some few months to build 3-bedroom homes, and then a country as big as Ghana, you are given 4 years or maximum 8 years to build it as a president. How is it possible? Just think about it, guys. I'll just end the video here, and then I hope you guys give some comments. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and like, share with your family members and anybody else in your network. I appreciate you staying through from the beginning of the video up to the end, and I hope to see you soon. Peace out.